YouTube, what's going on? This is Brad with the Draft Countdown team. We are doing something different. We want to do some mock draft simulations. So if you like this video, definitely make sure you like that video. Hit that notification icon. All right, with Detroit's first pick, pick 29, and in this simulation, we're not doing any trades. So although this simulator will offer trades, we're just going to go with what picks we have. So pick 29, we've got a team that literally 2 quarters away from the Super Bowl. What can you do to improve this team? Well, you can build strength upon strength. You could add defensive line help. You could grab a wide receiver. We know that near the end of that game there in the NFC Championship, there were concerns with some drops and some guys having trouble there. I'm not going to go receiver. I've been saying cornerback this whole time. There's a couple guys here that I think are really nice corner options. Enos Rickstraw from Missouri is a guy that people have been hyping up. Kamari Lassiter is a guy that I really liked throughout the draft process. I liked him pre-draft. I liked him throughout the season. I think he could be a really nice guy on the outside across from Cam Sutton. So we're going to go with Kamari Lassiter here at pick 29. I know it's at least based on this, it's a bit of a reach, but I want to grab a player that I can plug and play from the get-go. That guy came from Georgia, who's been nothing but championship teams over the last, few years. Good piece, good pickup. I like him at 29. So here comes a sweet spot for Detroit. They've got a couple picks at 61 and 73 within really close distance. So as I'm looking at this, and as I'm looking at some of the players that are still available, we've got wide receivers, we've got linebackers, we've got running backs, safeties on the board. I want to continue to build on my strengths. I want to continue to build up that defense. The thing that we have to remember with Detroit is they're going to draft best player for their team. The guys that have grit, the guys that are, that fit with their culture. So it may not be, we could even see them not go corner at 29. Like, I keep mocking them corners if you read any of my mocks, but they may not take a corner. Maybe they get one in trade or go free agency, or maybe they like a guy later in the draft. So that might even be different than what we would expect. I think at 61, I'm going to lean on defense again, and I'm going to take a defensive lineman. Rook Ororo from Clemson is there. I like his strength. I like that he's a good run defender, but he's got some pass rush ability. I think there's still room to grow, but he's got the size to play across the line. That scheme versatility that everybody loves to use that. It actually is legit here with a guy like this. We have a Lee McNeil that's your guy in the middle that can attack. You've got Aiden on one side. Rook, you can move him around. He can play next to Aleem. He can play across from Aiden. Like, you can do some different things to use him to attack. I just love that fit and that pick and that player. So I'm taking him here at 61. And although I passed over him at 61, he's sitting here at 73, so I have to go linebacker. I don't know that Detroit goes, but with Junior Colson sitting there, I'm going to take him. I know that we've got a decent linebacking core. I know we've got some young guys that are improving. I know we've got Anzalone, who's a seasoned veteran, but why not continue to add depth? When you look at a guy like Colson, there's so much to like about him. He brings more than that. At 6'2", he's got good size. He's got good instincts. He's got the coverage ability that Detroit needs. You need to be able to cover these athletic tight ends coming out of the backfield, or maybe even help take a running back out of the backfield. There's plenty of reason to need a guy like Junior Colson in this defense. So I'm going to take him here. Does Detroit go defense? Maybe. If Detroit finds their guys, they're going to take their guys. It doesn't matter what side of the ball it is. All right, with our 4th pick inside the top 100, I'm looking at a couple different things here. We've been building defense, so I'm going to look to the offensive side of the ball, but at the same time, we have to think about, we've got multiple positions across the offensive line that aren't getting any younger. We've got depth at receiver that could use a little bit of, obviously Marvin Jones left during the season last year. Reynolds isn't getting any younger. You've got truly a number 1 in Amon-Ra. You've got J-Mo, who's been coming out and developing. But I'm going to add son of a Hall of Famer. I'm adding Brendan Rice here. I think he's got really good ball skills. I think he's got some really good instincts. Obviously, there needs to be a little bit more development there, but he almost fits the Josh Reynolds type role. He's 6'2", good ball skills, can play kind of in the middle, but has the ability to play outside as well. So I like that pick here with what was sitting on the board. I'm perfectly fine going receiver in the top 100. At pick 163, again, I'm just going to continue to build on his strength. A few moments ago, I mentioned about offensive linemen. I didn't expect a guy like Javian Cohen to be sitting here. I like it. Not only is he just a massive human being at 6'4", well over 300 pounds, but he's smart. He's a really good pulling interior offensive lineman. I mean, there's a lot to like about his game that I think really translates well to what Detroit could be using, because they like to get guys out into space, especially those running backs. They like to get them out in space, like to move them around and do some things there. I think this would be a great pick for them and could really help build depth and potential down the road. I didn't anticipate it, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm going to pull the trigger and take another offensive lineman here, because Michigan's Trevor Keegan is just NFL ready. I mean, this guy was a mauler at the collegiate level. I love that he played not only for a team that went all the way to the championship, so he has that experience, the big game experience, but, you know, he's a very physical and tough and gritty guy on the offensive line, and that's just something I'm not going to pass up here, especially late in the draft. This is where you really add guys that can be depth pieces, guys that can really help build the back end of your roster, and that's a perfect position for a guy like that. I know that it isn't going to get graded out well because I reached a little bit there, but I like throwing him into that offensive line room, especially with guys, you know, getting up there in age. Why not add some competition in there? Get you some depth guys, get you some guys that maybe can help you down the road. And with Detroit's last pick at 247, I am going to go and I'm going to draft a kicker. I know that Detroit's brought guys back, but kicker continues to be a position that they just seem to struggle to find the next guy. You know, since Matt Prater, there really hasn't truly been the next guy. And though kickers are pretty fluid these days, a lot of teams will move on from them, and it just kind of is a back and forth. Detroit had a long history of kick, you know, like Green Bay's had a long history of quarterbacks. We had a long history of kickers, from Murray to Hansen to Prater. I mean, we've been consistent there, so we're still looking for that guy. I'm going with Alabama's Will Riker. He was a priority add to the Senior Bowl roster. He was a guy that has kicked for a big program for a while now. I like that he went back to college when he could have came out last year. I know that he got a Senior Bowl invite last year and everybody thought he was coming out. I would take him. I would put him in there and see what happens. I know it did not grade out well, but I think that Detroit is going to add a kicker at some point, whether it's free agency, whether it's a draft. I could easily see them do something there with it. Now, I know that may not be the most flashy pick, and stay up to date anytime we go live. We do a weekly show, we do shorts, we've got draft profiles, we got it all.